Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the home build. Today is an exciting day. We're going to be talking about second floor framing. It's going up. I'm here with the crew. The crew's on site, and on this video we're going to be showing the assembly of second floor walls. So the tricks and hazards and things like that associated with being elevated instead of being on the first floor right against the ground or near the ground. Now you're up another 10 feet taller. So we'll go over that, go over some components, sheathing, where it laps, watching how that laps, seeing how a wall gets raised, all that fun stuff. So let's get started. All right, guys, we're up here on the second floor. We got Skyline, our framers. They're out here on the edge. They're getting ready to process for building and fabricating this second floor wall on site. It's going to be a really fun wall because it's a little bit different than your standard wall, because there's a window that's halfway in the stairwell and above, out there on that end, that rim board. So that's that continuous rim board that's out there, as you can see. It has to be continuous. It can't be broke up. That's what the engineer calls for. So they're working on that. They got the layout here, 5.5 inches in, and want a nice straight wall, because that's important, is having a straight wall. And you can see out here on the end, the plywood laps up and over. So that ties that rim joist to the wall. And then that second floor wall is also, the sheathing is going to be lapping down onto it. So we'll get to see that process. But up here on the second floor, we got 8-foot ceilings. Down on the first floor, we got 9-foot ceilings. So our headers are a little bit different. The headers itself is a little bit smaller. So these are 2x8s right here. One single 2x8. Okay, allows for insulation. That's awesome. I'm loving that. I'm really impressed with the Dare Homes and their design of their plans, the quality, thinking about energy efficiency. So up here, they're supposed to have an R8 value rigid foam in 2x6 framing. Another thing I love about it is that they're 16 on center. They're not 24 inch on center. So what that means is 24 inches from stud to stud, center of stud to center of stud. That way, for your sheathing, for your sheetrock, and for your siding, have a good layout, good strength for nailing, screwing, that sort of thing. So, but if you're wanting to know the components of a wall, check out my first floor framing video and that sort of thing, to see what the components of a trimmer, king stud, that sort of thing. This one, I'm excited because we get to see the assembly of it, so you get to see that. So stay tuned and have a look. Another thing that I did want to actually mention that I didn't talk about on that first video was the partition connections. So a partition is an interior wall connecting at perpendicular, in this case, to another wall. So this red line right here is a 2x4 wall that separates one bedroom from the other. Where it connects, we got a California corner. So what's exciting to me about that is air circulation can dry this out. So if and when, which it has been raining for a while, it can allow it to dry out. If you have a channel, which is another type, where it's 2 studs with, in this case would be a 2x4 in between, it creates a channel on the outside, and you actually have to insulate that before you sheath it. So the problem with that is when it does rain, all that insulation inside, it's going to get wet. Even if it was rigid foam, everything that's in it would still be wet, but it wouldn't dry out. So it's going to rot, dry rot, mold, all that bad stuff that we don't want. So with this California corner, so it's 2x6 for a 2x4 wall, allows for sheetrock to have something to nail to. This side you got a standard stud, allows sheetrock to nail to that, allows insulation to get in behind. So the cool thing about having the insulation in behind here instead of it being, say, built up with all these studs, for one, it's a lot more wood. Wood's expensive. Two, the R value of a stud or wood, Doug fir, is a little over R1 per inch. Well, insulation could be up to like R4 and more per inch. So for code, there has to be R21 in a 2x6 wall. So that allows insulation. This area right in here allows for just a little more energy efficiency. So that's kind of that, which is really cool. There's a few more walls out here that you'll see, so they're gonna need to have California corners there. The next thing, now that they got the continuous rim board in, that they're gonna be working on is their bottom plates and their top plates doing the layout. So let's have a look. Let's have a look and see what Jacob's doing over there. See that? Right now, he's toenailing that bottom plate right to his line. Keeps that bottom of that wall straight. But also, really cool about that is when he goes to tip up the wall, it doesn't slide off the building. So do that. That's a great point right there. Toenailing gives a little pendulum, or little tipping point, because his nails that go through are right on that line. Gives it a pivot point. Excuse me, that's what I'm trying to say. Pivot point for tipping up that wall. All right, wanted to give you a little shot of the plans, because I like kind of teaching that portion of the plans, what wall they're going to be framing. So right down here, this wall that they got going right here, the stairwell right there, that's this wall right here. And what it says here is frame window on top of rim joist. So that window, instead of it being at the standard height like it is out here, it's going to be down lower. So when you're on the landing of the stairwell coming up, you got some light. You can see out the window, that sort of thing. And we also have in here, where they're going to have a California corner, is this interior partition wall right here, right here, right here for the stairwell. And this one right here for this other side of the stairwell. These are 2x4 walls, 2x4 walls. And up here on this floor, down on the lower floor, underneath is 2x6 framing. Up here might be a little smaller 2x4 framing. So that's some of the partitions, some of the connections that they're gonna have. As well as over here, as you can see, an attic girder. So supporting the joists in the direction that they're gonna be going. So when we get up into the ceiling framing, when we talk about that, that'll be something to come, but it is going to need a 6x6 in the wall at that location. So what the man Jacob's doing right now, he's building a little pony wall for on top of this. The plans call for balloon framing. Balloon framing is where the studs go all the way up and the floors get tied into it. But what it also says is to refer back to the engineer. The engineer wants that continuous plate for strength. So he needs to have a little pony wall to build up to the top of the sheathing. And then he's gonna end up having a bottom plate continuous all the way through. That's gonna help with keeping a nice strong wall. Also, it's gonna help with assembly, raising of the wall. So let's have a look. Marking first, trimmer, opening, rough opening of the trimmer from stud, all from the center of the opening rather than offset. It's a nice, good, clean finish.
Okay, 5/8, barely minus. Let's try her again. One more time.
So we're checking to make sure it's square, even though they're on the line down there at the bottom. Checking from corner to corner, diagonal to diagonal. If they're equal, then our wall is square. When they tip it up, it's also plumb, at least this direction.
Yeah, money. Fair 5/8 minus, money in 40 feet. Good.
Awesome. Good to double check. All right, they got this wall all completed. One thing I wanted to show you is these notch outs right here. It's for our partition walls for the double top plate to lap onto. And the reason it's not cut all the way through is to maintain the strength, integrity of the wall. So right here we got a splice of your single top plate, and from there to where the double top plate splices has to be at least 4 feet away. And if you cut through here, that's less than 4 feet, that's less than 4 feet. So all those kind of details you gotta think about. But so not cutting through allows them to have their splice plate further, but a minimum of 4 feet away, so it can be further than that. That's what's happening here. The doubler right here, what the reason for that having two was for sheathing on the outside. It has something to bear to, and that's just happens to be where the two joints lining up. So that's going to be a good strong wall. They're going to lift it, hoist it in place with one continuous wall using the wall jacks. You can see them over there. And so the next process, what they're going to do is install the sheathing. So, excuse me, the sheeting. So the sheeting is going to lap over onto the rim joists right there. They're toe-nailed. That bottom plate is toe-nailed, as you can see right here, all along. Got our pivot point, so this bottom side is nice and straight, so therefore it's also square because it's buttoned into each end. Then go right to sheathing. So the ends, they're going to leave that first sheet off, so after they stand it up, they're going to have to add that plywood after to connect that, make that connections. So let's have a look. Just before they set this wall, something to keep in mind, they left it a little bit out of plumb. A little bit out of plumb. That one allows it easier to lift and hoist up this wall. when it's up in place, braced off, they bring the corners together. That plumbs up that wall, and it plumbs up this wall. So.
And then this is the fun part.
So trade tip 257, put down that corner sheet to the wall on that side, like it is over here. Okay, nailed on so that the sheet's there. You're not having to hold it up here after the fact. Like Jacob was saying, do not nail it to the rim joist, because this wall is out of plumb just a little bit. And when you stand this up, bringing them together, makes a tight joint, plumbs it, sheet's already there, nail it together, just like that. Well, that's a wrap for today. That's a good start for the second floor exterior walls. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you learned something about what's a type of framing for the second floor and that sort of thing. So I look forward to seeing you next time on the home build. Like always, down at the bottom there on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Any comments that you want to, if there's any additional content that you want to see, make sure you leave a comment down below. Hit that bell button, tells YouTube that you, whenever they make a new video, and I'm making a video you know, weekly, sometimes twice a week or 3 times a week, depends on what's going on and that sort of thing. So that way you can see the content. So see you next time. It's been fun, it's been great, and I look forward to seeing you next time.